Tucker Carlson is gone from Fox News in the wake of a settlement that Fox News had to make with Dominion, the company that was involved with the voting machines at the 2020 election. Apparently, Fox News told some fibs, some big lies, some Pinocchios about the Dominion voting machines. Fox News had to settle in the defamation lawsuit for, I think they settled for, what was it, like 700 million? Yeah, $787 million. And in the wake of that happening, this was like 5 days ago, Tucker Carlson has been dropped from Fox News. He's just gone. They didn't even give him a sign-off show or anything. I think his last show happened on Friday, and now he's done. He's off Fox. So, not good news for the big boy. Not good news at all. I think the way we'll start this is we'll start with the Tucker story, and then we'll go into what happened at Dominion so we can get all the context. So, this is the story from it today. Tucker Carlson leaves Fox News in wake of Dominion defamation settlement. Right-wing primetime host Tucker Carlson is leaving Fox News immediately, the cable network announced Monday. So, like, this is quite big as well because Tucker Carlson was by far, I think, the most viewed news broadcaster, I think, in the world. I think his shows got more than any other news show on earth. He's had a few scandals in the past, hiring someone to do his stories who had a very, very not so subtle connection to like neo-Nazism and white nationalism. He talks about like great replacement theory, something like at least 100 or 200 times a year. Obsessed with like all kinds of conspiracy theories. He did the Ukrainian biolabs conspiracy, loads and loads of anti-trans rhetoric. And yeah, also it looks like voter fraud disinformation as well. So, the announcement came after Fox News' parent company settled Dominion Voting Systems defamation lawsuit for $787.5 million. Fox News Media and Tucker Carlson have agreed to part ways. The company said in a statement on Monday, "We thank him for his service to the network as a host and prior to that as a contributor." Thank you for your service, Tucker. Peace be upon him. There will be no send-off for Tucker Carlson as his last program aired on Friday. The company wouldn't comment beyond the release and whether Carlson was being taken off air in response to the Dominion defamation case. Fox Class A shares were down nearly 4% on Monday. So, what the fuck happened with the Dominion case? Let's have a look. The 11th hour deal saved Fox a potentially lengthy legal tangle, though it still faces other lawsuits over its coverage of false claims about the 2020 election. Fox News' agreement with Dominion Voting Systems on Tuesday abruptly resolved a lawsuit over how the network amplified conspiracy theories about the 2020 presidential election, which devastated Dominion's reputation and business. Now, the Dominion accusations, this is the one that, wasn't it someone who said that Hugo Chavez's fucking ghost was involved in it or something? That crazy, the Kraken? Was her name Sydney? Yeah. And I think those lies kind of, they started up there, but then they would kind of get Sidney Powell, but then they watered down to people saying that the voting machines were tampered with, that they were giving false results or like false positives and shit like that. But yeah, loads and loads of bullshit. It's good to know actually that this might not be the only lawsuit Fox News faces. It's also good to know actually that the United States, for all its flaws, when someone lies about an election, there is actually recourse out there at some form. So that's nice to know. The network had advanced former President Donald J. Trump's claims, which its own hosts did not believe. Oh, so knowingly is a potential thing there. The Dominion's voting machines had been used to tilt the election against Mr. Trump. The trial was set to begin on Tuesday, and gasps were heard in the courtroom when the judge announced the settlement. Here are the key facts about the deal that ended the case. Now, it's okay, so there are a couple of categories to realize here. First of all, there's a difference between news broadcasts and opinion broadcasts, okay? Opinion broadcasters can get away with a lot more disinformation related stuff because they're not reporting as fact, they're reporting as opinion. The other thing is the difference between deliberately lying, like with malicious intent, or sincerely believing something that is wrong. News agencies, like news broadcasters, like factual news, will broadcast loads and loads of shit that turns out to be wrong, but they issue a retraction and it's fine. There's no legal issue there. Opinion people, opinion broadcasters like the Young Turks, for example, can say things that are patently false, like Young Turks still calling, I think Cenk still calls Kyle Rittenhouse a murderer, even after Kyle was found innocent, because that's Cenk's opinion about the legal case. He just thinks the jury went the wrong way based on the evidence, which he's allowed to do legally. I think Kyle is trying to sue him, but as far as I know, if you are broadcasting opinions, I think you're allowed to do that. But this was very shaky for Fox because there might have been evidence that they knew they were making it up and that the other host didn't actually believe in the Dominion claims. At $787.5 million, the amount that Fox News agreed to pay Dominion was one of the largest in a defamation case. Fox was not required to apologize on the air, though it did make a statement recognizing that the court had found certain claims about Dominion aired on its programming to be false. The settlement carried an implicit plea of no contest to several pretorial findings from Judge Eric M. Davis, who presided over the case. He had written in one ruling that it was crystal clear that Fox's statements regarding Dominion and the election were untrue. Other details about the terms of the settlement remain unknown. Judge Davis did not say anything about them in court. It's unclear whether the settlement will be publicly disclosed. Another theory is that Tucker Carlson, who was one of the biggest proponents, maybe the biggest proponent of voter fraud conspiracy theories, it's possible that the settlement, if it hasn't been disclosed already, I think some people are speculating that part of the settlement was letting Tucker Carlson go. That might be possible. The settlement prevented what could have been a costlier, lengthier, more embarrassing outcome for Fox. Dominion's suit asked for damages of $1.6 billion, almost double the settlement figure. The trial could have gone on for weeks, followed by years of appeals. The case also could have put a spotlight on a stream of damaging information showing how Fox told its audience a story about interference in the 2020 election that many of its own executives and hosts did not believe. Without the settlement, Fox's biggest stars and top managers faced the prospect of testifying in a public courtroom and answering direct questions about whether they believed the election fraud claims. Rupert Murdoch, the 92-year-old Fox News founder, and the host Tucker Carlson, Maria Bartiromo, and Sean Hannity were potential witnesses. We are hopeful that a decision to resolve this dispute with Dominion amicably instead of the acrimony of a divisive trial will allow the country to move forward from these issues, the Fox Corporation said in a statement. What happens to other lawsuits against Fox? While Fox resolved its dispute with Dominion, the network remains entangled in similar lawsuits related to its coverage of the 2020 election. Months before Dominion filed its defamation claim, Smartmatic, another voting machine company, filed its own, demanding $2.7 billion in damages. Fox denied wrongdoing, saying it had simply reported on newsworthy allegations coming from Mr. Trump. A day after the Smartmatic suit was filed, Fox businesses cancelled the show of Lou Dobbs, who was named as a defendant. A New York appeals court denied Fox's request to dismiss the case in February. A New York judge last month agreed the case could proceed. In March, Abby Grossberg, a Fox News producer who had worked with Ms. Bartiromo and Mr. Carlson, filed 2 lawsuits in Delaware and in New York. She accused Fox of coercing her into giving misleading testimony in the Dominion case and of creating a hostile, discriminatory work environment. After she filed the complaints, Fox fired Ms. Grossberg. We will continue to vigorously defend Fox against Ms. Grossberg's unmerited legal claims, which are riddled with false allegations against Fox and our employees, a Fox News spokesperson said. What does this mean for Fox? This was before the Tucker story came out. The settlement deal dealt a significant financial blow to Mr. Murdoch's news channel. A recent corporate filing showed that Fox Corporation had about $4.1 billion in cash and cash equivalents at the end of last year. The pending cases could also prove costly for Fox. It remains unclear whether the settlement will cause Fox News to change how it handles the coverage of conspiracy theories like the ones involving Dominion. On Tuesday, while the blockbuster settlement topped the news on other television networks, it was covered only 3 times by Fox in the first 4 hours or so after the settlement became public, amounting to about 6 minutes of coverage. So this isn't the first time this has happened to Fox, and the reason I'm not too optimistic, I mean, it's good to see that Tucker is like fucked off, basically. I doubt he's ever going to get the same viewership that he was getting from Fox, but Fox have done this before. Way back in the Obama years, Glenn Beck was their like village idiot of the time, who was very, very popular, very conspiratorial, very bombastic, and very just like dog shit broadcaster. Was dropped by Fox, I think, because of anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. He would try to. He was the one who would always have these like whiteboards with like arrows. He was literally the meme. He'd have these whiteboards with like arrows pointing from one face to the other and some face to the other, like, and he would like cry about how patriotic he was when he was like on fucking Fox News. And he I think he got fired for anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, like trying to link Karl Marx all the way over to Rothschild to Obama and shit like that. Yeah, he was just absolutely deranged. And he got let go. And he never really recovered, but he was never as big as Tucker Carlson. And also he just wasn't as good at what he did. Glenn Beck was a conspiracy theorist in a way that even moderate Republicans would like wince at. They thought it was really weird. Tucker Carlson does a much better job at pushing far right conspiracy theory and just horseshit, basically, but in a way that is like not only very appealing to people on the right, but also very appealing to people who are fancy themselves on the left. Russell Brand was impressed by Tucker Carlson. Like Tucker Carlson uses a lot of rhetoric that can pull people who think they're on the left, but really just are a bit too but are really just populists. How many times did Crystal Ball and fucking Sagar like stand in support of things that Tucker Carlson said? How many times did Shoe on Head? Was it Shoe on Head? Was it? Wait, was it? I might be wrong. I don't want to say. I feel like there have been loads of times when like far leftists, especially during the Bernie campaigns, would like stand things that that Tucker had said. I feel like that was a common thing because he would often appeal to like, well, I do know this. He would often appeal to class frustration as well, in a right wing way. He would say, in a way that leftists could be seduced by. He would say like, liberals are so obsessed with identity politics and all this LGBT stuff that they've completely ignored what really matters, which is the American working class. Like, he would do that a lot, which is also very close to the language of left-wing populists. And actually, you know what? Since Tucker actually did fly quite close to the sun with that, he had a writer once who was exposed for being like a fully fledged white nationalist, like a dyed in the wool, like almost like neo-Nazi. Hmm. If you want to look back, if there's actually a really good clip in this from the film The Rise of Evil, which is about Hitler, when he is trying to sell Nazism to the public, and how he would note it, he would look at newspaper headlines, and he would sometimes borrow catchphrases from the communist newspapers because they had a lot in common. They were populist. They were anti the republic. They were against the democratic system. They were anti-liberal. So he would do that. He borrowed communist rhetoric like a lot. And there was a whole wing of Nazis that actually wanted to do an overlap of like socialism and Nazism, right? They were the Strasserites mostly in Berlin, and they actually dragged a lot of like ex-communists over from that for that reason. That's where the beefsteak Nazis came from. So it's a very it's a pretty old tradition that Tucker is grabbing from there of like using populist left-wing rhetoric without ever approaching any kind of policy or anything substantial, but just adopting the aesthetics and the rhetoric to get people on the left to at least like turn up. More like less principled people or people who are only drawn to the left for like all the wrong reasons, like the populism stuff, just so that they could get dragged over to Tucker. Like and that skill that he has probably won't be emulated very easily, but But it is something that he's going to carry on, I think. I think he'll probably do better than Glenn Beck did on his own, which is, I don't know. Always with the Nazi comparisons. Why is Vosh like this? I'm going to watch Loner Box instead. Listen, that Nazi comparison was solid, okay? It's based in fact. Actually, I'll tell you a fact. A fact. Like, at the very beginning, do you know the reason that the Nazi flag is red in the background? Is right at the beginning, before they had the swastika shit. Nazis actually used, they would have red posters. They deliberately used red posters on their early meetings in like the early 20s because they knew it would get leftists to turn up. And usually that resulted in fights, but it also resulted in people getting dragged over. That was a thing. Dylan Burns, welcome, Raiders, to the stream. Thank you so much for the raid. I hope you had a good stream. Dylanoids, Burnites, Banderites, not that. Nazis, welcome to the stream. Good to have you here. We're just looking into the Tucker Carlson leaving Fox. My prediction for people who just joined is that he's probably going to do a little bit better on his own than Glenn Beck did, because he's good at what he does. But yeah, let's have a look at the coverage of the story. Is he? Yeah, of course he is. If you can't, okay, look, I hate Tucker Carlson. You guys hate Tucker Carlson. If you can't acknowledge that he has this like incredible skill for adopting very vague, like populist rhetoric that is good at like teasing, coaxing in like more moderate right wingers, but also grabbing people who fancy themselves more on the left. If you can't realize like how good he is at appealing to a very broad sphere of like populists, then yeah, you're lost. Yeah, Tucker is very good at that. He's not going to get replaced by anyone who can do it as well as he does. And because of that, I don't think his future is going to be like the future of Glenn Beck, for example, because Glenn Beck is a clown. Tucker is a very dangerous clown, a very serious clown. He had no idea he was letting go. What? Here was the end of what turned out to be Tucker Carlson's final show on Friday. No indication that he didn't expect to be on the air tonight.
Week. Yeah. Truly, that was a great segment, and I'm just grateful that you came on, and I'm especially grateful for the pie.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Employee of the week. We're just make it of the year. Tyler Morrell of Coco's Pizza. That's it for us for the week. We'll be back. By the way, the entire episode of Let Them Eat Bugs, not quite as good as pizza, streaming now on Fox Nation. Use the promo code ORIGINALS for 30 days free. And we'll be back on Monday. In the meantime, have the best weekend with the ones that you love, and we'll see.
Yeah, of course, yeah. We'll be back. Thanks for the pie. Listen, thanks for the pie, chat. Anyway, I guess we'll never know what Tucker's thoughts were on Let Them Eat Bugs, eh? We'll never know.
Fox News Media has
Let's get some British perspective, shall we? Some enlightened bongers perspective.
It has parted ways with the key network host Tucker Carlson. That's with immediate effect. Our US correspondent Mark Stone has more on this for us. And Mark, well, a dramatic move by Fox. He's one of their highest or higher rating hosts, I think. Tell us more.
Yeah, this is a surprise. Tucker Carlson, if there is a Fox News household name in the UK, then it is probably him. He is, I would say, the best known of the Fox hosts outside of the UK. He is a celebrity.
I remember discovering, like 2012, discovering Fox for the first time, maybe earlier than that. It's such a culture shock. We just don't have that here. I mean, we do. We have shows that are kind of like that here, but they fail. Like, no one watches it. They're like dog shit. But the thing that, if you introduce a British person to Tucker Carlson, they don't know about him, it would freak them the fuck out. Even like Sean Hannity. The fact that he's survived in that business for that long is actually insane. Sean Hannity's a fucking psycho. But, anyway.
here in the United States, without doubt. His 8 p.m. show every night, every weeknight on Fox News has among the highest ratings of all Fox News' programs. He is provocative. He is a man who stirs anger as much as he does applause, depending on where you sit on the political landscape here in the United States. As of Friday, he did his show without any suggestion that anything was going to happen. Clearly, something happened over the weekend, and he is out. A brief statement from Fox saying Fox News Media and Tucker Carlson have agreed to part ways. We thank him for his service to the network as a host and prior to that as a contributor. He is a man who has shifted right over the course of his career. He was at CNN for many years. He worked for MSNBC for many years as well, but then moved to Fox News.
Could this be connected to the Dominion lawsuit? It's very likely. But the settlement, I don't think we know if the settlement's going to be made public. So it could have been part of the settlement that they were going to get rid of Tucker, but I don't know law. Is that likely? Is it likely for a defamation settlement that they would get rid of one of their employees? I have no idea.
And has been more and more provocative in line with Fox's output over the course of the last few years. Now, the context probably is the Dominion case that was settled out of court, you'll remember, just last week. This case that a voting systems company had against Fox for lies that Fox had made on air, lies that Tucker Carlson was allegedly part of, but by no means the only host who was caught up in all this.
True.
Other household names here in the United States, like Sean Hannity, like Laura Ingraham, both of whom have shows that follow Tucker Carlson's show on the weeknights on Fox. They too were caught up in what has been a very difficult period for Fox. I'll be fascinated to see how Laura Ingraham and Sean Hannity react to this news. And of course, we don't have any clarity on whether he was pushed or whether he decided to leave.
Well, maybe we can. Again, we're only speculating. Responsible streamer. Maybe we can get some information to speculate with if we look at what Dominion's case was against Fox. Let's have a look.
It's a lawsuit seeking damages of $1.6 billion. A lot of money.
A lot of money.
But you could argue the cost pales in comparison to the real issues at hand in the case of Dominion voting versus Fox News. Aaron Moriarty outlines how we got here and what's at stake.
We're grateful that you trust us, and we will try to be worthy of your trust.
Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, Maria Bartiromo, and Lou Dobbs.
Details of the election rigging are beginning to emerge from all around the country.
Some of the best-known current and former faces of Fox News may soon trade their anchor chairs for the witness stand in a Delaware courtroom. They appear on the witness list along with top Fox executives, including Chairman and CEO Rupert Murdoch.
The Emperor from Star Wars.
In a defamation lawsuit that could have a devastating impact on the company.
This is the strongest case you've ever seen?
Strongest case in terms of the evidence.
Lee Levine is a retired First Amendment lawyer who has litigated on behalf of major media companies, including CBS and Fox.
I have never seen a case involving a public figure where the evidence of actual malice that they will have to put before a jury is stronger.
Until it filed.
When they say malice, they mean the evidence that they knew they were lying. Cool.
This lawsuit, few Americans knew much about the plaintiff, Dominion Voting Systems. During the 2020 election, Dominion provided machines and ballot scanners to 28 states. On election night, Fox News took many of its viewers by surprise with this.
Fox News Decision Desk is calling Arizona for Joe Biden. That is a big get.
Chris Stirewalt, Fox News political editor at the time, helped make that call.
I was surprised at how damn scared everybody was and how much just this intense fear. I knew that we were...
Fear of viewers?
Fear of viewers, fear about ratings, fear about Trump.
What happened after that call was an exodus of angry Fox viewers, including President Donald Trump himself. to win them back.
President Trump won by not just hundreds of thousands of votes, but by millions of votes.
Dominion alleges Fox intentionally allowed attorney Sidney Powell, Rudy Giuliani,
that this was a stolen election,
and others supporting Trump to make false statements about Dominion.
I thought they don't decide what to say. They just get a script. Wouldn't someone else be liable for the defamation? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I actually know how that works. I don't know how much agency someone like Tucker or Bill O'Reilly or Hannity, because they're kind of like, they kind of got their own shows. I don't know how much discretion they have for what they talk about. They probably have more than like just someone handing them a script. But in any case, it still could have been part of the settlement that they wanted to get rid of the mouthpiece, like Tucker Carlson, right? It probably wouldn't have been good enough for Dominion if Fox was just like, all right, we'll fire Tucker Carlson's scriptwriter who no one knows about. Yeah.
The Dominion software system has been tagged as one allegedly capable of flipping votes.
The Supreme Court has said what is not protected by the First Amendment is the knowing falsehood, the calculated lie.
Dominion has already begun making its case in public, releasing texts and other communications obtained through litigation.
Terrible stuff damaging everybody, I fear. Probably hurting us too.
Like this one sent by Fox chief political correspondent Bret Baier on November 5th. There is no evidence of fraud. None. Yet 3 days later,
Potentially a stolen election.
his colleague Maria Bartiromo interviewed attorney Powell, who falsely claimed she had proof that Dominion had rigged the election.
They also used an algorithm to calculate the votes they would need to flip.
Part of the proof provided by Powell, according to court documents, an email from a woman who said she gained information from speaking to the wind. Bartiromo herself later described the email as nonsense, and still.
Wow, this is explosive, and we certainly will continue to follow it.
Over the next days and weeks, Powell...
Yeah, like, I don't think a scriptwriter told her to say that this information was explosive. I think you're on your own for that one, Hen.
And President Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, continued to appear on Fox programs.
Sean, it was a national conspiracy.
Fox also received communications almost daily from Dominion refuting the false.
You know what? I think people I find it hard to believe is that wasn't Rudy Giuliani really popular in the 2000s? Like not just among Republicans, but just among people in general, because of like not just the post 9/11 thing, but just as a mayor. Wasn't he in a fucking Adam Sandler film? And they were like, yeah, mayor, you're the man. Like, he was America's mayor. Yeah. Damn. Was it the pandemic that did it to him? Or was he like that before? I don't know.
False claims, but Fox never made a retraction.
One could argue that at the very beginning, when Giuliani and Powell were first saying these things, they had no reason to believe they were false. But then, once Dominion started sending information to Fox, saying, no, what they're saying is false, here's why, then a reasonable jury could find that Fox knew it was false or probably false and let them come on and say it again.
In fact, court documents show that Fox's own fact-checking unit, known as the Brain Room, found claims about Dominion switching or deleting votes are 100% false.
The Brain Room. My fucking God. The next time I fact-check someone, I'm going to say, let's enter the brain box. The box brain. I have to go into my box brain. Jesus.
On the surface, this looks terrible for Fox, but isn't there some truth to the Fox response that the plaintiff is just cherry-picking?
Sure, and yeah, I mean, they may be cherry-picking, but they're extraordinary cherries. It's just genuinely pretty shocking.
Ben Smith has written extensively on media issues for the New York Times and now Semaphore, an online news site he co-founded.
A big part of the case is the question of whether someone comes on your air and says something crazy. How responsible?
Someone does what in your ear?
For that, the question of whether someone comes on your air and says something crazy, how responsible for that are you?
Uh-oh.
And it's tricky with live television. Somebody just suddenly opens their mouth and says something, and a court isn't necessarily going to blame the broadcaster.
So let me start by just saying, this time is yours.
But if you invite them back again and again and again, even as your senior executives are saying this person is crazy, don't put them on the air.
And Fox show producers, according to court documents, continue to put Powell and Giuliani on air because it was good for business. Any day with Rudy and Sydney is guaranteed gold, wrote one producer for Lou Dobbs' show.
What about Fox's argument, which is you've got a sitting U.S. president and his attorneys making allegations? That's newsworthy. And Fox argues that it had to cover it.
I mean, I think that's a pretty strong argument. Fox didn't invent Donald Trump. Fox didn't invent Sidney Powell. And even if they hadn't gone on Fox, they would have been out there defaming Dominion anyway. So I think Fox will say, this isn't really our fault. We're just reporting on it.
The judge has already
Yeah, but I guess that didn't work.
ruled that statements broadcast by Fox were false and defamatory. And just this past week said Fox cannot argue those false statements were newsworthy.
Uh-oh.
Still, Dominion faces the biggest hurdle of all, to convince a jury that Fox and its famous faces acted with actual malice, that they knew the claims were false or had serious doubts about them and aired them anyway. Former Fox.
It's funny because the word actual, like in Scotland, if you use it, is just it's a really colloquial way to exaggerate something. Like, here, mate, you're an actual cunt. It's just weird seeing it in law. Mate, actual malice. Pure malice, pal. Means the defendant published false information about a plaintiff with knowledge that it was false or with reckless disregard of whether it was false or not. Well, damn, it can be malice if you just disregard whether it's false or not. Okay.
Fox News political editor Chris Steyerwalt.
Didn't you in your deposition say by November 7th, when the election was called, nobody believed that Donald Trump had won, right?
I said no reasonable person. That doesn't include all TV anchors in the category of reasonable persons. I don't know what anybody believed in their heart of hearts.
Fox News denies actual malice, asserting in court documents that it reported Dominion's denials and pushed back on Sidney Powell's allegations.
She never demonstrated that a single actual vote was moved illegitimately by software from one candidate to another. Not one.
I don't really think that's how defamation works. I don't think that if I defame someone and then you don't defame them, that I get credit for the fact that you didn't.
And Fox also asserts that some hosts believed the allegations.
In Maria Bartiromo's deposition, she says she still doesn't know what happened in the election. Does that get her off the hook for actual malice if she says, still don't know, I didn't know then and I don't know now?
The very likely answer to that is no, that does not get her off the hook. As one of my former partners has been quoted as saying, there's no insanity defense in defamation law.
In a statement responding to this report, Fox said Dominion's lawsuit is a political crusade in search of a financial...
Did he say you can't plead insanity for defamation? Is that what he said?
As one of my former partners has been quoted as saying, there's no insanity defense in defamation law.
In a statement responding...
Oh, no. Does that mean Lav can't get off for the BPD? She can't plead BPD. Oh, no.
Responding to this report, Fox said Dominion's lawsuit is a political crusade in search of a financial windfall. But whatever happens in court, Dominion may already have won a victory by embarrassing Fox, releasing texts and emails that, among other things, appear to show Tucker Carlson supportive of Mr. Trump on air.
Really an amazing conversation.
Expressing something else privately. I hate him passionately.
Dominion has already won a lot.
2 months after the 2020 election, Chris Stirewalt lost his job at Fox. It was officially part of a restructuring. He says he was fired for doing his job too well. He has written a book pushing for change at Fox and all television news networks.
I think what they've already won is getting this basic admission that the news has to be the news.
Why do Americans talk like that? The case will be successful if we can get this one admission that news is news. Okay. It's so broad. What the fuck are you talking about? Anyway. Cool story, bro. Good thing we have... Where is it? Good thing we have High Progressive here to catch all the Carlson cope. Aaron Mate. Tucker was the cable host who most opposed US proxy war in Ukraine. Okay. Denounced CIA, FBI, and DHS for its systemic lies and corruption. Nice and vague. Devoted himself to a pardon for Assange. Objected to regime change efforts in Cuba. Criticized Trump's admin's militarism. How much criticism was placed against Trump for his militarism? What, for Soleimani? You think Trump wasn't criticized for that? Oh, what the fuck? All right. He also accurately covered and challenged the dirty war on Syria, including the Duma cover-up scandal. Oh god, this is the chemical weapon shit. Oh no. Oh, Mate. Tucker Carlson is out at Fox News. The network announced it has agreed to part ways with the popular primetime host and conservative commentator. So now there are 0 people telling the truth about Ukraine or war in general on TV news. Tucker Carlson was one of the people who did the bioweapons shit. Where's that information now? Has he updated on that story in a year? Has he said anything about the fact that no bioweapon labs were found, even though Russia has been through the fucking Kherson region where they said that the labs were? Actual Jimmy Dore is so fucking dense. Oh god. Tucky was claiming the other day that Ukraine had nukes. Wait, no, don't believe it. Send me a link. Send me a link. Send me a link. Believe it when I see it. I don't trust you guys. Tucky. God. Jackson Binkle. End of an era. Sad to see Tucker Carlson has left Fox News. He was the only host who dared to tell the truth about the deep state's proxy wars, regime change operations, and deranged culture wars. Solid communism. Tucker crashed the ratings and spoke the truth. For that, he was canned. Oh, Jackson.
Tucker Carlson is the #1 name in cable news.
Why is this the link you're sending me? No timestamp. I hate you. I hate you all. Okay.
You laughed in the face of your last interlocutor on this issue.
Think that they're Ukraine or sensitive nuclear technology.
Not only has the Biden administration been maintaining these labs in Ukraine in the middle of a war, it also has, quote, sensitive nuclear technology in Ukraine as well. And no, we're not making that up. They admitted it today. Watch.
Like a nuclear power plant? I love how they can just take things like nuclear technology, biolab, and just be like, wait a minute. Wait. What do I remember from watching 24 or Tom Clancy novel? Nuclear means nuclear warhead. Biolab can only mean those little green spheres from the rock that make your spine explode. Okay. Wait, well done. Good link. Oh, Jackson. It's just funny watching a kid like actually spew up his entire soul for some extra like clout. from the worst fucking people. Oh God. Tucker Carlson wasn't fired because of the Dominion lawsuit because he wasn't implicated. Fox News found a way to get rid of him because of his stance on the Ukraine war. My God. It's not like there aren't 20 different pundits repeating all the same dog shit points about Ukraine. Doesn't every uni have a biolab? Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of cope. That's an extreme amount of cope. I'm just so thankful that people like Tucker Carlson have been there to expose to just expose the fucking like fringes of the like the entire faction of the far left that will just hold the exact same position as a fucking far right ethno-nationalist when it's big because they don't have any fucking principles, because it's all just like team sports, populism, brain rot. I'm really glad that Tucker Carlson was there to expose that. Anyway. Well done, Tucker. All right, goodbye. Off.